Thank you so much for joining us on Extrabyte. Obviously, I'm Sandra, your host, but this is one of my dear friends. I've just come to meet her, but her name is Skylar Stecker, and you probably have seen her on Instagram and Facebook and SoundCloud and every single social platform. She's got a following, and she's a singer, songwriter, actress, entertainer. And thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
Yes, well, I am super excited to talk to you because I was on Facebook and somebody said, you need to talk to this girl. And I said, what? Okay. So, and actually we have a mutual connection with your makeup artist, Phoebe. So
She's the best. Oh, I love her so much.
And we were talking about her doing Mike Tyson, and she was like, and I've been working with Skylar for like 6 years or something. So
yeah, she's my first ever makeup artist ever. And like when we say, and she'll be my last.
Right. So I mean, once you find someone that knows your face, yeah.
Totally. And like, she's such a sweet person. And I feel like if you find people that you click with and are just good all around humans and have good energy, like hold on to those people because they're rare to find. And she's one of those people for sure. So.
Well, definitely. And I know that when you are talking from your personal perspective, I assume that. And so I wanted to talk to you about your songs. Right now, Figure You Out is super intense, and so when I listened to it, I was like, I am crying and I don't even know. I don't even know what she's. I love it. And then for what is it called? Really is the other one. And they're both very, different from what, she's got number ones. I don't know if you've ever heard of Skylar Stecker and her pop dance kind of background. You got some jams in there that are really kind of on the upbeat side. So this is kind of taken I don't know if you're like peeling it back.
Totally. I mean, those two songs were one of the first that I did during quarantine because I set up like a little small studio at home because obviously I write all my own stuff and I do all that. And so at the time it was looking like we don't know how long this is going to be. So I set up like a tiny studio and just my guitar, and I just wrote probably like 5 to 6 songs initially so I could just figure out kind of what I was doing. And those two were my favorites from that batch. And I was like going through some like quarantine, like talking to people because like I think we all were in quarantine, like if we were single, like bored. So like I had a lot of stories to tell and everything. But I mean, in the past, I mean, I'm newly 18 and like figuring myself out, no pun intended. And in the past, like a lot of the stuff was more like lighthearted and stuff because I didn't really have that much like life experience outside of my career when it comes to just normal relationship, like things like that. And so more so recently, I've definitely over this past year have what I would say really found myself in my sound and what I want to say with my music and how I want to come across and what I want to present. And so I'm really excited for people to hear what's to come because it's definitely the most true representation of me and where I want to go and see myself going. So I'm very excited. So I'm glad that you got that that vibe from it because
you're like, that's what I was going for, right?
Yes, thank you.
Well, that's good because I saw some of the videos that you have up on YouTube, and you've got ones on Hollywood Boulevard, or that are very you play to the camera, you understand, you find your light, if you will, and you to me seem like a very all-around entertainer. So what's your goal? I mean, you've got albums out, you were signed and now you're an independent artist. So where do you see yourself? Like, what is your ultimate, like, that's where I want to be?
I want to be at the top of what I do. I really ever since I was young, I've always been a long-term thinker with everything. So that's why I also never really been in like a long-term relationship because I look at everything and how do I see this playing out? Even with all of my friends and everything. Ever since I was 9, I was thinking about that. I'm like an overthinker and I'm super, and I'm the same way with my career. Every single decision I make, I'm thinking, how will this affect my imagery or how am I going to think of this? And how is this going to help my career in 10 years to come, down the line? So I have very, very big goals. I want to be one of the great, I want to be one of the best. And so every day, like, it's just finding those things that you can do every day to get better and to separate yourself and to continue to, at the same time, though, staying true to you. Because even though I feel like when you want things really, really badly too, sometimes you feel like, oh, like, what can I, should I be doing this? But it's like, the main thing I think is just staying true to who you are and really just taking it one day at a time and like really honing in on those small things. Like, same with like my studio and everything. Like I got to a point where I was like, okay, I understand a little bit. Like I got it. Like I could be fine here, but then I was like, okay, what else can we do? Like I want to be a great vocal producer. Like I want to produce my whole album when it comes out. And so that's what I'm doing right now. Like I'm vocally producing like the whole entire thing. And so everything, I feel like the minute you close yourself off to like, anything, you just stop growing. So every day I'm just like, all right, let's take a step closer to my goals and like, let's get there. And what can I be doing? So, I mean, definitely big goals, but one day at a time.
Well, if you don't have big dreams, I mean, it's kind of like if you don't ask the question, the answer is always no, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So when I looked at, some of the things that you've done, you've been, awarded like, different things as far as, the next best, or like every single award. I'm like, okay, so she's got that, she's got that, she's got that. Okay. So who are you wanting to work with? Because I know you've worked with like Tricky Stewart and, different producers and things like that. So who's on your list? Because I know I saw somewhere that you were, one of your favorite artists is like Bruno Mars, so who's on your bucket list, if you will?
Ooh, well, for artists on the artist side, Bruno Mars definitely would be like amazing. Like I would, oh my gosh, I love him so much. He's like so inspiring. He plays multiple instruments, like he does all that, which I do too. So I've always like looked up to him in that sense of the way that he balances his musicality with still being commercial and like this fun entertainer artist. So I love him. I'd love to work with him. Also Alicia Keys, like I love her as well. So something with her would be really, really fun. On the producer and like production side, I've always been a huge fan of Mustard, DJ Mustard.
Okay.
Amazing. And I love his like Mustard on the beat. Like every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, like it's actually, okay, this is a funny random story, but I had a song a while ago that's not released, but my dad like loves like hip hop and like all that. So he loves Mustard. Like that's his favorite producer. And he would literally for like a chunk of time when I had this like song, he's like, this sounds like a Mustard track. So he would, before it started, would always be like, Mustard on the beat, and he would do it every time I played it. And it was so funny because it fit so well. And I was like, one day
he will say
one day. And then you won't have to add it in, Dad. It'll actually be the real tag. He would be amazing. Also Chris Brown is somebody too, like on the artist side, who'd be amazing as well. But I'm super open. Like I feel like my new music is definitely more in the R&B pop realm, kind of that 50-50. So I've actually been working with a lot of producers that have been, part of like Drake's OVO group and working with like Division and a lot of those people, which are artists that I love. So I've been having fun. And I've been doing a lot of stuff on my own too, which has been really interesting because I feel like even though I love working with other people and getting their ideas and like, it's great having other energy into the room. It's also good to have that balance of time where I'm like really honing into like what I want solely, you know what I mean? Like not letting other opinions necessarily good or bad, like kind of decipher what I do. So I've been actually having a lot of fun, just kind of instinctually just playing around with stuff. But I'm always open. I'm like, hey, your country, like, hey, let's try it. I mean, I can't guarantee.
You're like Garth Brooks called? Why not?
Why not? You never know. The craziest like songs, like my best songs have always come out of sessions that have been totally last minute, or like a song I was pitched that I was like, I don't think it's right for me, and then I cut it anyway, and then it's like the single. So like it always happens like that.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, everything happens for a reason, and it always happens when it's supposed to. And I can't really say that for COVID in 2020, but I can say that for most things because this was just out of nowhere. But well, so when you are thinking about collaborations, you mentioned mostly guys. So have you thought about maybe like a Tori Kelly or like?
Oh, I love her too. I love her too. She's amazing. I like she can sing. Like I've always loved her. I feel like she deserves everything. She honestly has one of my favorite female voices. I definitely like lean, for some reason that is very true. Like I do like lean towards like guy features and stuff like that for some reason. I mean, I love Tori Kelly. I love Kehlani. Kehlani's amazing. I would love
Yeah.
doing something with her.
Yeah.
I also love Bia and like obviously like Nicki and Megan Thee Stallion, like all those on the rap side. So definitely, I'm super open.
And then your dad's probably like, and then there's the on the rap side. Well, so when I looked at some of your photos, I was like, gosh, why does she give me this like early Mariah vibe? Because you had this like, I don't know, it's kind of like a lioness mane thing going.
My usual hair is like,
yes,
it's all
exactly.
Like,
when I always recognize it because I'm a Leo. So, but I saw it and I was like, she's giving me like early Mariah. So I don't know. I'm just going to put that out there as like your next collaboration, just because.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. No, and I love early Mariah. Like that, honestly, my playlist consists of 90% early Mariah music.
Well, it's about to be Mariah's season. So
yes, exactly.
So, she takes over. But when you think about, what acting side, because I know that you've taken charge of like the music side during quarantine. Have you been thinking about like if what would be like the actor that you'd want to be like the lead next to, or because you've done a lot of like I think the younger side with Disney. And I feel like that sometimes it's hard to transition from, kind of like the Miley Cyrus, she had to kind of like go way 180, like on the other side. So how do you feel like with your transition? Like obviously this music transition is about your vocal, progression and, life experience, putting it into there. But where do you see yourself landing on like the acting side?
I mean, acting is super fun. Like you're right. Like when I was younger, I did it more frequently than I do now. Even though I was only in a couple of things when I was younger, but I wanted to explore that side to see if I had the same love for it as I do music, because a lot of people do both. And like for me personally, I love acting. I think it's super fun, but unless it's a role or something that I feel super strongly about, or that I just love the show and I just really want to be a part of it, and I'm lucky enough to be a part of it, I kind of tend to stay away from it a little bit now, just because there's only so many hours in the day, and like I look at everything like, would I rather be getting better with my music and doing that, or would I rather be spending it learning a script and like doing that? So to me, I do tend to focus on my music and stuff now. But I haven't shut the door completely on it, because I mean, I love like Law and Order, SVU, Grey's Anatomy, like all those shows. I'm like, if they need a guest star, I'm on it. I will be there like in 10 minutes. Like
I will be your victim. I will
be like, oh my, this is totally random story, but I love Ghost Adventures. Have you ever seen that show?
Yes, I have.
Oh my God. I literally, ever since I was like 9 years old, would like get caught under my covers watching it on my iPad, like after I was supposed to be sleeping. And I'm obsessed with my photographer. She's actually been working like on the set of Ghost Adventures recently. And I was like, Miranda, shout out to Miranda. I was like, that is like my dream. My life would be complete to be on Ghost Adventures. So like stuff like that, I'm super into and like not opposed to. But just in the future, like I definitely don't see myself really focusing on that as much. So that's kind of where I sit with that.
Well, I looked at it from the standpoint of your music videos, you're singing, but you're acting, you know what I mean? So you do it when even though you're not thinking you're doing it, you're so doing it. So for me, I'm like, good on you, because I looked at, you've got TikTok and like all these different platforms, and I'm like, how does she like churn out the content all the time? And so I don't know if you like ever sleep or
not really.
because it's a constant stream. And so I'm like, wow, how is she doing that? I mean, maybe you're storing it in your drafts. I'm not sure, but
no, it's like those, I mean, totally, like, and those things, like, to me, it doesn't really feel like work. And I love doing that so much, because like I am so passionate about my music, and that is my only and one true love. And so that's kind of why it makes it a little easier to let go of certain things that aren't as important to me, because I have that I'm so focused on and like in love with. So yeah.
Well, so I'm totally going to put you on the spot, and if you don't want to, you don't have to.
Go ahead.
But Can you sing a little bit of one of your newest songs?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, what's the one?
I didn't tell her I was going to do this.
No, she
FYI.
did. Okay, though. Let's see. Why you make it so hard to figure you out? I swear. Woman, if I'm so close to you, pull away. Why you so scared of showing? Every single time I think we're getting someone new, you start acting different, baby. Tell me what's to lose. Why you make it so hard to figure you out? I swear.
Those are my virtual claps. Oh my God. Okay. So FYI, she's the real deal. Because we did not talk about that and she killed it.
It's okay.
So she's in it to win it, ladies and gentlemen. So where I know that your website is skylarstecker.com. If you want to go there, you will find all of the links for her most recent performances, all of her links for all of her social media. Check her out because she is doing the damn thing. Thank you so much for joining me on Extrabyte. And I hope that you have such a lovely holiday because you are just a super, super doll.
Oh, you too. Thank you so much. It was so great meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. Bye.
Bye.